I left my abuser 2 years ago today. What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about narcissistic abuse, domestic violence, the financial situation that you're going to go through if you find yourself in that situation and then have the courage to leave. It is not easy. It's very difficult, and I am going to, once again, be vulnerable and transparent on the internet in the hope that my experience can help one of you guys. If you are new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has in fact been to prison. Ta-da! It's not a flex, it's just a fact. If you want to follow me on any other social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, that's $2. It's only ever going to be $2. All of that is linked down below, as well as my vlog channel, my podcast, all the stuff. Even my merch and Amazon storefront, it's all there. Also, Patreon is the place where I can kind of rant about the things that I'm going through, rant about my healing journey, and tell you guys some really unfiltered and unedited stories regarding this and so many other things. So definitely check out the Patreon if you want uncensored, unfiltered me. Plus, you're going to get like 4 years worth of content to binge. So if you're not on Patreon, what are you even doing? All right, without further ado, let's kick this thing off. So 2 years ago, I decided that I was going to leave the father of my kids and we were going to just figure it out. I had no plan. I just packed up as much as I possibly could and I put it in storage. And then we lived in a hotel for 2 months. That was October of 2022. So now, October of 2024, where am I at today? How is everything? How's my healing journey? All of that. Let me start with my mental health. When I first left, I had so much guilt and shame, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I was making the right decision. A lot of narcissistic or toxic people will kind of condition you to think that if you leave them, they will not survive that. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And on top of that, there was also a relapse going on. So I was terrified, but I was more afraid for my kids than I was to stay in that situation with him. So we left. My fear kind of continued, and then there was a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. A lot of the things that I went through with him are extremely traumatic and very embarrassing, and it was really hard to process all of it, but you have to if you're going to heal, you know? And I spent a lot of time, many months, just kind of frozen, I guess, like after I left. I was so depressed, and I was kind of just sulking in my misery, if that makes sense. I was absolutely devastated and heartbroken, and the fear continued, and then I was really angry, and it was a lot to handle, you know? As much as I don't want to say this because I'm in such a better space now, and now I understand that was a trauma bond. Wasn't love. At the time, I genuinely loved him, you guys. More than I could ever even tell you. That was very 2022 of me. I'm saying that because I know if you're in a bad relationship like that, I know how much you love that person, and I know that it's really hard to leave. And chances are, if you're watching this video, then you've kind of already had those feelings and you're not happy in your relationship, or you have experienced it and this is something that you can relate to. So I think it's important to just be really transparent and let you guys know, like, I did love him. To be completely honest, I thought I would be so much further along in like my healing journey. I didn't think I would still have really bad dreams. I didn't think that I would still have these, I guess they're called flashbacks. I didn't think that I would still get really scared and really anxious out of nowhere. But that happens a lot. It happens a lot. And it's something that I'm very grateful to have Burner now because, you know, he understands it and he's not mean about it or judgmental. He completely understands, and he's just a really good partner and a really good person. But navigating that on my own for a year before I met Burner, it was really hard. And I let myself many times get kind of lost in the pain of it. And I was stuck there, you know. I basically spent 2022, all of 2022 and half of 2023 just waiting for the next bad thing to happen. 2022, you know, when I was still there, I was just waiting for that phone call that I would get all the time. Oh, he's in the hospital. Oh, he crashed his truck. Oh, he did that. Like, he needs help. Right? A whole almost a year, 10 months of me dealing with his relapse and his craziness and his rage and his outbursts and him hiding drugs all around the fucking house, you know? So it was just a really bad situation. Before that, it was all of those years of emotional neglect, emotional abuse, financial abuse. I really did think that 2 years later, I would just be a completely different person, you know? I don't know if any of this is making sense. And I also don't know who the fuck I thought I was going to be. Like Selena Gomez, like who did I think I was just going to miraculously turn into after a couple years of being away from that person, right? So I'm getting there, but I will say 2 years out, I still get anxious and panic attacks and really bad dreams and these moments of fear, like these rapid moments of fear. Something will trigger a memory for me and it'll just kind of be a rough patch, but I am learning how to handle that a lot quicker than I used to. I really do think that everything happens for a reason, and I'm learning how to be more gentle with myself and more patient with myself than I ever have been. I'm learning to love myself a lot more. Part of that is realizing that my self-worth and my self-confidence was solely dependent on that person and how they acted towards me, how they treated me, how they made me feel. And that was really not healthy, really not healthy. So learning to do that on my own is a really important aspect. There are some things that I did that I'm trying to not beat myself up over. And some things that I question, like, oh, was that the right decision? And this is my first piece of advice. If you're going through something like this, years ago, not understanding how the system works when it comes to domestic violence and narcissistic abuse, I would have told you, get a restraining order every single time. Without question, I would tell you to get a restraining order. Having gone through it, now my advice to you is you know the situation, you know that person, you know what they're capable of for the most part, and you know, okay? Trust you and trust your gut. If you think that the right thing to do is to get a restraining order, get that restraining order. Make sure you're documenting everything, text messages, calls, make sure you have, safeguards in place. Also, do your absolute best to not respond to them when they trigger you, okay? Preferably don't even let them know where you live. It is harder when you're dealing with someone that you have kids with. But if you have kids, my advice to you is to not let that person know where you live. Meet out in public. Do not let them come to your house. It just puts you in a really bad situation if you're forced to co-parent with your abuser, like so many of us are. Family court is a complete waste of time and money. It is a waste of time and money. All family court cares about is, can these two people get along and what is in the best interest of the kid? And I promise you, a narcissist will drain their fucking bank account, their mommy's bank account, everything, just to try to make you go bankrupt. They will torture you in family court. It will drag on and on and on and on. And a lot of judges don't understand or recognize that this person is very narcissistic and it's just a vendetta that will never end. And even if the judge does recognize it, it's all a money game. It's just an endless fucking pit of money. I would try to avoid family court at all costs. Narcissistic or toxic people, they know how to manipulate the court system. They know how to manipulate cops, and they will use those things to harass you and torment you and make you exhausted and all of that. That's why I said, you when it comes to a restraining order, do what you think is best. When you go get a restraining order, you're going to have to face your abuser. Most cops are not experts in domestic violence, and no cop is an expert in law, okay? They're trained to lie to you, they will lie to you, and they will side with the person that is not acting crazy. But narcissists or toxic people, they know how to trigger us to go from zero to prison, so when cops show up, we look insane, right? Also, another thing with the restraining order, and this is just my experience, is that he wasn't coming to my house anymore. He wasn't, calling and trying to intimidate me and trying to get me to see him and all of that stuff. What he was doing, the emotional abuse and all that stuff, it just shifted. It didn't stop. It just changed. Now he's not doing it. He's having law enforcement do wellness checks on me at 2:00 in the morning over and over and over again. He's had random women come to my house in the middle of the night. He has done all kinds of things. He has gotten his father to call to do a wellness check on me at midnight. He has gotten his girlfriend to email me and contact me during a no contact order. Just anything that you could possibly imagine that he could do without himself actually doing it, that's what he was doing. So it didn't stop it. It just changed it. So as you can imagine, 2023 was a very exhausting year for me. So you know your situation best and trust your gut. I will say that 2 years out, I don't feel anything for him. Like, I don't know, that's going to sound weird. I don't really know how to explain that, but I feel absolutely nothing for him other than anger if he does something that upsets the kids, but this was a person that I had a really hard time letting go of. I had a hard time leaving, and it was just really messy and confusing because for so long I had this image in my head of who he was, and I found out that that was a complete fucking facade, and it was so hard to unravel everything that was going on because my entire life with him, 8.5 years was a complete lie. He lied about everything, more things than I will ever truly know. So finding everything out and really just taking a look at everything. I'm talking phone records, credit card statements, toll bills, all the stuff, all the lies were exposed. It was gut-wrenching. I was sick to my stomach. I thought I would never get over it. And now I feel absolutely nothing for him. Like nothing. And I really hope that gives you guys some kind of hope. It does get easier. It does get easier. Yes, I still have panic attacks. Yes, I still have really bad dreams, but it gets so much easier. I am completely numb to anything that he does or says. I don't care. He's irritating sometimes, but it's not going to ruin my day if he's an asshole. I just don't care. I just expect him to be that. Okay, this is what I don't want to talk about on the internet, but I know that it's important to share the whole thing because if you guys are going through it or you're about to go through it, I want to give you guys a picture or an idea of just how hard it was for me financially and how hard it is still today financially. The reason why this is so important to talk about is money is usually the reason why people stay. And I can't speak for, women that are narcissistic and abusive towards their partners. I can only speak from this side, right? Most mothers will endure unimaginable pain to make sure that their children have a roof over their head and food on the table. And money, more often than not, is the number one reason why people stay in these really bad, really toxic, really abusive relationships. So I think it's important to talk about the money because I had the money to leave. And even though I had a chunk of money set aside, and I'll tell you exactly how much, even though I had a chunk of money set aside, it still wasn't enough. I underestimated just how far he would go. So when I left, I had a little under $120,000 in cash. That is a lot of money to have saved to leave. So I thought for sure I'm okay. This is going to be okay. 2 months of living in a hotel cost thousands of dollars. I'll put rough estimates on the screen. Then I bought a house. And, the reason why I couldn't just get an apartment is because we lived in a hotel for 2 months, you guys. But I had 2 dogs. I'm a felon. I needed a place where I can record, and I needed enough room for 2 kids and 2 dogs as a felon. So the messed up part about our society is if you're a felon, you can buy a house, but you can't rent an apartment. I don't think that there should be restrictions on housing or jobs unless you're a sex offender. Come on, dude. Well, I had to put $20,000 down. Ouch, that sucked. Then he took my vehicle. You guys saw in 2019, I bought a brand new Jeep. Well, in 2021, I upgraded that Jeep to a 2021. Yeah. To a 2021 Jeep. I peeled the plastic off of it. I loved it. I put $10,000 down on it and I made every single payment. That Jeep he took away because it was in his name. I wasn't allowed to have anything in my name, not my phone, not my car, nothing. Our house that I, obviously put a ton of money in, nothing was in my name. In fact, I remember the day that I went to go get my own phone and my own phone bill, I was fucking shaking. That was 1 month before I left. That was September of 2022, and I was so scared. But I walked in the store and I got a new phone and a plan and an Apple Watch, and I'm like, dude, fuck that. I'm gonna have my own phone at least. This is fucking stupid. And I tried for months to get him to change the loan, the Jeep loan, into my name. Because at that point, I did not have a bad credit score. My credit was fine, which is something that I worked on as well. Anyway, long story short, he ended up taking it, right? So then I had to put, I don't know, $5,000 or $10,000 down on another vehicle. A few months after me living in my new house, my house that I had just bought, it needed a lot of stuff. I was trying to put up drywall and finish off the basement, and there was just a lot of things that I wanted to change and all of that. So I spent a lot of money trying to upgrade the house and make it bigger and really maximize the space with drywall and everything. And then a few months after that, I want to say like August of 2023, my furnace or the hot water tank, something, I don't know, it broke. And I had to spend like $6,000 on a new hot water tank heater thingy. I don't know. All of 2023, I'm going through a smear campaign, and it's more and more and more difficult for me to film. My comments when I try to show the house and the things that I'm doing on the house, it was filled with meth projects, faces of meth. She's on meth, painting the house because she's on meth, like the whole thing. That fucked with my mental health so bad that I almost quit. So I wasn't earning a lot of money. Oh, lawyers. Okay, so I had to get a lawyer in January or February of 2023, $5,000 to the lawyer for the retainer, a bunch of court fees, all of that. It was just super fucking miserable. You know what I mean? I had to fire that lawyer because he was awful. And then I had to put $7,000 down to another lawyer, a family court lawyer. I started with a criminal lawyer because it was an order of protection case and all of that. And then because my ex knew how to manipulate the court system, he moved it from the order of protection into family court. They merged that to no longer talk about the abuse. Because again, family court does not care about what this dude did to me. No. They only care about what he maybe did to the kids. I wasn't allowed to bring up any of the things that he had done to me. I was only allowed to talk about the things he did to the kids. So if an assault happened in front of them, then that could get brought up, but nothing else could. So I had to get a new lawyer, a family court lawyer, and that retainer was $7,000. Y'all see where I'm going with this? So the home that I just bought, I, once again, did not feel safe in my own home. And Berner and I got a call saying that his daughter needs him. So that's not like a regular situation when leaving an abuser, but that's what happened. So I sold my house 1 year after buying it. I made no money on it. I spent a ton of money to move many states away, which was the best decision ever. Like, I would rather be broke with a lawn chair in a little apartment with Berner than rich with my ex, like, if you know, you know. What I didn't mention here is I'm just telling you guys about the really, really big expenses, and I didn't tell you about all of the really small expenses, like the furniture that I had to buy, deposits I had to put down on certain things, all while I'm not working and, well, barely working. Kids are very expensive. So it looks like, 19 grand. No, that was, spent on just everything that everyone needed, everything my kids needed, all the furniture they needed. There's a lot of therapy cost in there. There were a lot of miscellaneous repairs that I had to do. That's why I'm trying to tell you guys to save as much money as you possibly can, because it goes so fast. And I had a really good savings. I thought that I would continue to be making around the same amount of money, and I'm very good with money. I'm very frugal. I don't spend my money on dumb shit. But I underestimated the power of the smear campaign and just how far strangers on the internet would go to try to make me lose contracts and lose deals and lose sponsorships, to the point where, there are a lot of people that don't want to work with me, and that's just fine. I will never forget the people that gave me a hard time when I was already having a hard time. And I will never forget the people that had so much love and compassion for me when I needed it the most. I'm like, my whole chest is like, yeah, this is from anxiety. Just talking about this is like super, super anxious. But yeah, it's just been tons of money going out, and it's a really shitty thing to not feel safe in your own home. Really shitty thing. No one should ever make you feel like that. And I'm beyond grateful to be in such a better space. I'm grateful to be safe, and finally my body is out of fight or flight mode. But I can tell that my body is storing trauma like it does, and I have a long way to go when it comes to really working through everything that happened. And I'm trying my best to be patient with myself, Okay, so here is all of my advice when leaving a situation like that. Number 1, save as much money as you can. Number 2, work on your credit score. Learn about how to improve your credit score and make sure that you have a good credit rating. There are a lot of videos online of people that are experts in that, and they can help you get your credit score up. It is really important. Number 3, but this really should be number 1, is have a plan. Have a plan, and do not tell them anything. Don't tell them where you're going. Don't tell them when you're leaving. Don't even tell them to their face that you're leaving them. There's a lot of case law on this, and I know I have talked about this before, but leaving can be the most dangerous time. A lot of people have been very badly hurt and killed trying to leave their abuser. So don't tell them your plan. Don't tell them where you're going. And if you have to tell them that you're not with them anymore, do it in a text message. Number 4, a restraining order is not going to stop the abuse. It's just going to change it. But sometimes it's necessary. Document everything that you can, especially when you have kids, because if it ends up in a family court case and there's no police reports or documentation to prove past abuse and you're bringing it up in family court, it seems vindictive. Even if it's completely the truth, you need to have a paper trail. Understand that it's going to take you a long time to heal. Before you leave, I would recommend having like a burner phone or like some little flip phone or something, just in case you need to have that. A lot of times narcissistic or toxic people, they will take your phone, your car keys, anything that they can kind of hold over your head to keep you from leaving. Have a backup phone so that you can call for help if you need to. Don't post on social media how much you hate your baby daddy or your baby mama. Don't do that. Everything that you post online can be used against you in court. So don't post rage rants, okay? If you really have to get out and you want to type it all out, use your notes app on your phone and keep it there. Also, keep a timeline, and since we're talking about notes, keep a timeline of everything that has happened, dates, times, what happened, and when you make a new entry, email it to yourself. That way, no one can say you went back in and changed the note after. Just keep records of as much as you can. And speaking of records, make sure you're getting everything that you need: birth certificate, social security card, medical records of your kids, all the things that you need so that you don't have to, go back to that house or whatever. Make sure you get the essentials first. I know this is like a lot of pieces of advice, but if you think you are being tracked, because they do that, that is super fucking creepy, but trust your gut. If you think that someone's following you and you think you're being tracked, trust that. And you can go to the police station and they will search your car for trackers. Sometimes they'll hide air tags in your car and just all kinds of weird shit. I would recommend getting all of the security things that you can, all the cameras, even on your car. Dude, no one should be driving without a dash cam. I think that's basically it. I know this is not a really well organized video, but it's me. This is what you get. I'm going to end today's video with this, and it's something that I wish sunk into my brain a lot faster than it did, okay? Narcissists know what they're doing. They know how they're acting. They know that it's not acceptable. They know they're hurting you, and they're not just going to wake up one day and be a different person and be like, oh my God, everything I was doing was so fucked up. Let me change. Wow. No, that's not going to happen. It will never go back to the way that it was in the beginning. That was the love bombing phase, and they'll sprinkle it in every once in a while, but it will never get back to that. They know that you're chasing that rush, that you're chasing that dopamine, but you have to understand that they will not change. So you need to change your environment. And I know that it's a lot harder than that. Trust me, I've been through it. I would just like to encourage you guys, if you are in this situation, to be less afraid of change and fucking do everything you can to leave. Because in my opinion, it's scarier to stay in that toxic, abusive, exhausting, neglectful relationship than it is to go and find better, even if it's just to stay alone for a while. Change is not scary to me anymore. Staying in the same fucked up situation, that is scarier than change. So try not to be afraid of change and just fucking go for it. You deserve so much better, but it's up to you because no one's coming. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to even help you. It's up to you to do all of this shit so that you can have a better life. But the great part of it is you get to decide that. You are the architect of your own life, and you get to fucking choose what you will and what you will not tolerate. I hope something that I said helped someone, but I'm going to end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, whatever that looks like to you. You are not crazy. They're an asshole. And you deserve so much better. So dump him, sis. I'll see y'all in my next one.